You may remember that in the past week, Samantha Bee, the generic hollow shell of whatever it is Jon Stewart used to have, did a smear on Prager University. For those that aren't familiar with Prager University, I don't know what you're doing on YouTube, but let me explain. They're essentially a conservative YouTube channel that explains things from their perspective. It's educational and it's conservative. They explain their point of view. What else do you want to call it? Well, Samantha Bee said it was dangerous propaganda. And since her awful smear, I mean awful in the sense that it was like really poorly crafted and conceived, not that she did a good job of smearing anybody, PragerU has raised $50,000 in donations. Bravo, good sirs. It seems that Samantha Bee's pathetic attempt at smearing PragerU backfired. But I want to make one thing absolutely clear before we read this. First, the story here isn't so much that PragerU's raised $50,000 in donations, but that almost immediately the media is smearing Prager again. It's just all so dumb. But I want to point out that I don't think Samantha Bee's intention was to actually cause harm to PragerU. A lot of people have said they're trying to use, I think it was Crowder actually, they want to use the language of calling him dangerous so they can get him banned. I don't think so. I think they're mindless drones who have no idea what they're talking about. And they're sitting in a room and someone says, ooh, let's rag on these guys. We'll make money doing that. Okay. They didn't actually watch anything. They don't know the arguments. So then you end up on YouTube where you actually have PragerU and channels like mine where you get sane, rational thought. Not always, but sometimes. And we talk about things more rationally. So if you watch Samantha Bee's show and that's all you watch, you're probably really dumb. You probably don't get out much and you know very little because you are in a narrow passageway. If you go on YouTube, the world is your oyster and you're learning about crazy things, some of which is complete BS, weird stuff about aliens and flat earth for sure on YouTube. But you're also getting more honest personalities like Prager, Crowder, me, and even progressives, people like perhaps Kyle Kalinske or the Hills, Crystal Ball and Cigar and Jetty. Wide range of opinions there. A lot of wrong information between all of us. Yeah, we get things wrong. We do. But you're learning more and you're hearing conflicting ideas. You're not going to get that from Samantha Bee. So I think the story is particularly funny because, first of all, whatever it was, a smear or otherwise, thank you for the advertising for a great YouTube channel. All right, PragerU, I'm sure they're very happy, saying the attack was unfortunately so typical of what folks on the left do to PragerU all the time, but also mentioning they never even asked for it. They're just getting all this money. People are stoked. Hey, congratulations. Samantha Bee just helped out, whether it was her intention or not. But I really want to talk about the immediate other smear that they started to do against PragerU and how the media machine works. But let's read about how Samantha Bee's vapid, trashy show helps PragerU. Reclaim the Net reports. Conservative talk show host and writer Dennis Prager has responded to Comedy Central host Samantha Bee's attack on his digital education platform, PragerU, and revealed that it helped to generate over $50,000 in donations for the platform. I'll tell you what, that could hire a nice producer to make more content. Isn't that great? For 1 year. During an episode of Fireside Chat, Prager thanked Bee for spurring the donations and said, "She brought us $50,000 and counting. We didn't even ask for it. Just people saying, oh, I'm giving money just to show this will backfire on her." Prager added that Bee's attack had also resulted in many new viewers coming to the PragerU platform. While Prager welcomed the donations, he criticized Bee's segment for using generalized statements with no examples, saying, quote, "It was unfortunately so typical of what folks on the left do about PragerU all the time. They make these generalized statements. Oh, it's a right-wing propaganda place. It's filled with lies. But 99% of the time, they never give one example." He also addressed Bee attacking PragerU because it's not a real university. "We announce on the opening page we're not an accredited university. You're simply free to learn. Do they acknowledge it is possible to learn at a place the government has not accredited as a university? Is that possible?" It's the funny thing about that perspective. Because it's not government accredited, you assume everything about it is completely fake. Yet we use tons of educational websites every day that are not accredited universities. But more importantly, Steven Crowder made a funnier joke that you're using the brand tag university as if anyone expects to turn on Samantha Bee's show and see her completely nude. Or they can complain that she's not, although I doubt they would. He added, all the universities that existed prior to modern accreditation, were they not universities? The idea that the government has to affirm you in order for you to be what you are is alien to my form of thinking and mine. I completely agree with Prager. Prager, award yourself a PhD from your own university. In addition to this, Prager discussed how some of the people who make videos for PragerU are professors from MIT, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Stanford, University of California, and UC San Diego. I believe San Diego. Prager's comments reflect just how much of a misfire B's attack on PragerU turned out to be. Not only was she ratioed on Twitter, but the attack also resulted in more exposure and more financial support for PragerU. So bravo, good sirs. It's always nice to hear that silly, vapid attacks just end up fizzling out. Which brings me to the next one. Look, I was looking up this story and I was like, it's kind of interesting that he raised the money. And as I was Googling a bit about Prager, I saw this smear and then I thought, oh, this is too good. You see what happens when you smear him the first time and he raised 50 grand? What do you think's going to happen now when you try and smear him over this clearly fake BS? Hopefully this brings in more money, but this is from last week, just about over a week ago. Here's what they wrote. This is mind-numbingly stupid. Dennis Prager thinks it's, quote, idiotic that you cannot say the N-word and blames the disgusting left. Well, as you know, most people are going to see the title of that and never read what was actually being said. Welcome to the fake news. I hope you have realized by now they are lying to you. These people are truly evil and disgusting, vile, bottom-feeding gremlins. They assert, they lie. Conservative radio host and founder of PragerU said that the left has made it impossible to say the N-word, even to decry its usage. Oh, and there's the context on his radio show on Thursday. In a response to a phone call from the Dennis Prager show about racial hate and anti-Semitism, Prager addressed a question about why he chose to say, quote, the N-word, end quote, before using a slur for Jewish people. In a previous segment about the private racism and anti-Semitism of former presidents Harry Truman and Richard Nixon. Quote, but you mentioned that President Truman used to use the N-word all the time, and then 2 seconds later, you followed it up with a word that is a slur for Jewish people I can't say on this channel. So why didn't I say K-word? Because the left has made it impossible to say the N-word any longer. That's disgusting. It's a farce. It's the only word that you can't say in the English language. But why is it okay to say the K-word? Prager says, because the left doesn't give a damn about that word. That's why. The left runs the country in the culture. The Republicans have the Senate and the presidency, and it's very important. But the culture, and the more the left controls, the more totalitarian it is. That is not an attack. It's a statement of fact. Like 2 + 2 = 4. It is idiotic that you cannot say the N-word, idiotic. Of course, you should never call anybody the N-word. That's despicable. But to say the word, you cannot even say the word is despicable. You have to say the N-word. That's the answer he added. And there is the actual context left out of the headlines and the smears. And this shouldn't even be a story. He's pointing out, he's condemning certain words. And he's right. I literally can't say them, even in the context of condemning them. So unfortunately, kiddies, you young 18-year-olds, because that's the youngest age that watch this channel, I'm sure, you will never know what these words are, unless, of course, you're on the internet and you click any other website except YouTube. But we're getting to that point. How absurd is it that I, on YouTube, can't say words to let you know they are bad words? Oh, well. So what do you think's going to happen? There will be a period where no one will say the words. A younger generation will emerge not knowing those words, and then they will start saying them, saying, what's the big deal? Who cares? They'll be told those are forbidden words. And they're going to be like, I don't know. I never heard it before. No one ever told me anything about it. And they'll start saying it. And it'll come back because you're all nuts. But it's true. If I say these words, YouTube will just delete my videos. So I literally can't say them. Prager's point is completely on point. If you want to explain why the word is bad, you got to say it, right? Otherwise, no one will know what the hell you're really talking about. And there was that guy from Netflix who got fired for literally doing just that. So yes, Dennis Prager hit the nail on the head with the hammer. You may have missed the story, but I'll recap you. It was a year or two ago. A Netflix exec was telling people about words that were offensive that couldn't be on Netflix. And so he literally said several words. Someone complained. He was brought to HR and they were like, we were told you said the N-word. And he was like, well, I was explaining to them that these words were offensive. And he went on to then list the offensive words again. And they said, oh, egad heavens, my stars and garters, he said the word again. Well, yeah, he was telling you what you asked him what he said. He got fired. So I think we all get that point. But look at how they title this. And they know most people read the headlines and don't read the story, and they know what they're doing and why they're doing it. But we all saw what happened when Samantha Bee ran her crappy little smear on Dennis Prager. So you know what? I don't care for the most part about your political opinion, so long as you're honest and acting in good faith. What the media and the establishment do is not any of that. They're just lying. Now, of course, there are other people and non-establishment types who do this too, but you know what? For the time being, this is on them. These smears backfire. And I hope, same as the Samantha Bee smear of PragerU, Prager reaped some rewards over this insanity. PragerU made absolute sense in his condemnation of the N-word and of those Puritans the puritanical left, who would not allow us to actually explain. And they're winning, at least for now. Maybe they're not winning anymore, but they've won a lot. I can't tell you the words. That says something, right? I'll leave it there. Stick around. Next segment's coming up in just a few minutes on this channel, and I will see you all then.